Most people spend their entire life obeying the weakest part of themselves, the tired part, the scared part, the part that says, not today, maybe later, and they don't even notice it happening. They call it waiting for the right time. They call it being realistic. But the truth is simple. They are being led by their feelings, not by their decisions. Listen to me. Your future does not belong to your moods. Your future does not belong to your excuses. Your future belongs to the part of you that can act no matter what. This is not a motivational speech. This is a manual for self-command. In this audiobook, you are not here to feel better about your life. You are here to take back control from the lazy, soft, comfortable voice that has been running your days. You will learn how to move when your mind says, wait. Do the hard thing when every emotion wants to escape. Shut down comfort before it steals your discipline. Finish what you start, whether you feel like it or not. This is not about becoming perfect. This is about becoming solid. From this point forward, your feelings are allowed to speak, but they are not allowed to lead. You are here to become the kind of person who takes action no matter what. Stay with me. We begin now. Every action you take comes from one of two places, your identity or your emotion, and for most people, emotion wins, not because they are weak, but because no one ever taught them this truth. Your identity is the real engine of your behavior. Your feelings are just the noise. When you act based on emotion, your life becomes unpredictable. One day, you feel motivated, you move. The next day, you feel tired, you stop. One moment you feel inspired, you take action. The next moment you feel doubt, you freeze. Your entire future becomes a roller coaster controlled by whatever emotion shows up that day. But look at the people who rise. Look at the people who stay consistent, disciplined, focused, unstoppable. They don't act from emotion. They act from identity. They don't say, I feel motivated today. They say, I am the kind of person who does what must be done. Their actions are stable because their identity is stable. And here's the shift you must make. Stop asking, what do I feel like doing today? Start asking, who am I right now? Because when your identity leads, your emotions fall in line. Identity creates direction. Most people try to build discipline by forcing behavior. But behavior doesn't last if identity stays the same. If you still see yourself as someone who hesitates, someone who quits, someone who breaks promises to themselves, then no amount of motivation will save you. You must build a new identity, one that actually matches the life you want. Identity isn't built in one moment. It's built choice by choice, action by action, repetition by repetition. Every time you take action when you don't feel like it, you're sending a message to your subconscious. This is who I am now. Every time you finish something you could have skipped, you reinforce it. I am someone who follows through. Every time you push yourself 1 inch further than you wanted to, you declare, my emotions do not control me. This is how identity forms, not through thinking, but through demonstration. The mind follows. The commander Napoleon Hill said that the mind becomes a faithful servant when the individual becomes a clear commander. Right now, your mind is used to leading you. It offers comfort. It offers excuses. It offers permission to stop, but a disciplined identity flips the roles. Instead of the mind leading you, you lead the mind. You tell it the plan, you set the command. You decide what happens next. The mind may protest, that's normal. But once identity takes command, emotion loses influence. Identity is a contract. You become the person you repeatedly prove yourself to be, not the person you hope to be, not the person you talk about being, not the person you imagine becoming, the person you demonstrate daily, consistently, especially on your low days. Identity is built when the mood is low, the energy is weak, the doubt is loud, and you act anyway. This is where strength is forged. Anyone can act when life feels light. Your transformation begins when you act while carrying weight. That's identity. That's power. You act because it's who you are from this chapter forward. You are no longer trying to feel ready. You are practicing something higher, identity-based discipline. You act because you said you would. You move because that is your standard. You push because that is the version of you you are committed to becoming. Emotion does not get to rewrite your identity. Identity rewrites your behavior. And the moment you understand this, your entire life changes. Because once identity takes the lead, your actions become inevitable. Inside every person, there is a voice that sounds reasonable, but is quietly destroying their potential. It never yells. It never screams. It simply suggests, maybe later. You're tired. Take a break. Today isn't the best day. This voice is the negotiator, a soft, clever part of your mind designed to protect your comfort at all costs. And if you don't silence it, it will run your life without you even realizing it. The negotiator is polite. It's gentle. It pretends to care about your well-being. But make no mistake, the negotiator is the enemy of your growth. It is the reason you delay. It is the reason you start strong and fade. It is the reason you hesitate on the very tasks that would change everything. The negotiator loves comfort. Your brain has one biological mission: survive with as little effort as possible. So whenever you try to do something uncomfortable, waking up early, working out, studying, taking a risk, your mind sends the negotiator to the front line. Why? Because discomfort feels unsafe, even when it's good for you, even when it's the only way forward. And the negotiator does its job very well. It gives you a reasonable excuse to avoid pressure. Start tomorrow. You deserve a rest. One day won't hurt. Wait until you feel motivated again. It sounds caring, but in reality, it's theft. It steals momentum. It steals confidence. It steals the life you're trying to build. Negotiation creates weakness. Every time you open a negotiation with your own mind, two things happen. You lose time. You lose strength. Your brain learns from your choices. If you argue with yourself before taking action, your brain assumes hesitation is acceptable. And hesitation grows. One skip day becomes 3. One delayed task becomes a pattern. One compromise becomes your identity. That's how people become stuck, not through dramatic failure, but through small negotiations repeated daily. You don't negotiate with yourself. You command the people who transform their lives do one thing differently. They remove the negotiation phase entirely. They don't debate with their feelings. They don't check if the mood is right. They don't ask their brain for permission. They decide. Then they act. Period. When the thought arises, do I feel like doing this? They respond with, irrelevant. I'm doing it. This is the moment discipline is born. Not in the action itself, but in the refusal to negotiate. Why command works? Because the mind respects clarity. If you give it options, it will always choose comfort. If you give it a command, it will adapt. The first few times feel difficult. Your mind will resist. It will try to reopen the negotiation. But if you stay firm, a shift happens. The mind starts obeying faster. The hesitation becomes quieter. The excuses lose strength. The negotiator grows weaker each time you ignore it. Eventually, you will feel something powerful. Your decisions begin to override your emotions automatically. This is the moment self-command becomes real. The rule, never ask yourself twice. If you ask yourself twice, you're already losing. The negotiator has entered the room. So make this your new standard. Don't think the substation, move. Don't negotiate two. Act, don't ask twice. Decide once. Your power begins where negotiation ends from this chapter on. Your mission is simple: end the internal debate. You are not here to negotiate with weakness. You are here to lead your mind with authority. You do what needs to be done, not because it's easy, not because it feels good, but because you decided and your decision is final. That is how you build a mind that obeys you. That is how you take back control. That is how you become unstoppable. There is a tiny moment, barely noticeable, that determines the direction of your entire day. It lasts no more than 5 seconds. 5 seconds between the impulse to act and the impulse to avoid. 5 seconds where your mind whispers, wait, not yet, later. Most people lose their life in those 5 seconds. Not dramatically, not loudly, but quietly, repeatedly, consistently. Hesitation is small, but it is the seed of every missed opportunity. And if you want to force yourself to take action no matter what, you must master this moment. The mind's default setting, delay. The brain is designed to protect you from discomfort, so whenever you consider a hard action, getting up, starting work, exercising, making a call, your mind instantly scans for danger. Not real danger, just emotional discomfort. And it responds with one simple command: wait. That pause is resistance, not a sign to stop, a sign to move. Because the longer you sit in that pause, the stronger it becomes. Resistance grows with time. Action shrinks with time. The 5-second rule, how you break the pattern. Here's the rule. When your mind says wait, move within 5 seconds. Stand up, take one step, start the task. Break the stillness instantly. You are not trying to complete the whole thing. You are interrupting the brain's pattern before resistance locks in. Momentum is not born from motivation. Momentum is born from the first step taken quickly. When you move fast, the brain has no time to negotiate. The negotiator from chapter 2 doesn't even get a chance to speak. You act first. Your mind catches up later. Why 5 seconds works? Because hesitation lives in the space between thought and action. Cut the space, and you cut the hesitation. Think of it like flipping a switch. Brain says, wait. You respond, move. Not because you feel like it, not because you're inspired, but because your identity commands action. 5 seconds is short enough to beat resistance, but long enough to choose courage. This is how elite performers operate. Not through perfect motivation, but through rapid initiation. Movement creates energy. People think they need energy before they act, but energy comes from acting. You will notice something strange. Once you move even slightly, your mind begins to unclog. The fog clears. The anxiety loosens. The task feels less threatening. Your strength returns. Why? Because motion breaks mental static. The brain prefers movement. Once you start, it shifts into problem-solving mode instead of avoidance mode. A body in motion stays in motion. A mind in motion focuses. A life in motion progresses. But it all begins with those first 5 seconds. Resistance will always be there, but it loses power. Don't expect resistance to vanish. That's not how the mind works. Resistance is a signal you're stepping into something meaningful. But when you train yourself to move immediately, resistance stops dictating your behavior. It becomes background noise. You feel it, but you don't obey it. You rise above your emotions and operate from identity, from decision, from strength. This rule changes everything. Imagine living a life where you get up instantly. You start tasks without delay. You stop overthinking within seconds. You no longer wait for motivation. You move simply because it's who you are. This isn't theory. It's practice, and it begins today. The next time your mind says, wait, you will say, no. We move now. 5 seconds. One decision, a completely different future. Most people live their entire lives avoiding the very things that would make them powerful. They avoid the difficult conversation. They avoid the heavy work. They avoid the uncomfortable truth. They avoid the challenge that exposes their weakness. And then they wonder why they feel stuck, stagnant, unfulfilled. But here is the truth that almost no one wants to accept. Everything you want: growth, strength, confidence, purpose lives on the other side of something hard. The hard thing is not the enemy. The hard thing is the doorway. The resistance you feel isn't telling you to stop. It's telling you this is the path. Pain is not punishment. Pain is information. When something feels uncomfortable, your brain reacts like there's danger, but discomfort is not danger. Discomfort is instruction. It's your inner compass pointing toward your next level. If waking up early feels hard, that's where discipline grows. If the workout feels heavy, that's where strength grows. If studying feels draining, that's where mastery grows. If starting the business feels overwhelming, that's where opportunity grows. Avoiding difficulty doesn't keep life easy. It keeps you small. And smallness hurts more in the long run than any moment of temporary discomfort. You cannot build strength in comfort. Think about physical training for a moment. A muscle only grows when you push it past what it prefers. If you only lift weights that feel light, your muscles stay exactly as they are. Your mind works the same way. If you only choose tasks that are easy, your mental strength never develops. Your resilience never expands. Your confidence never evolves. The hard thing is the weight. You grow by lifting it. And the moment you avoid the weight, you break the momentum of your own becoming. Hard things change identity. Every time you do something difficult, you are not just completing a task, you are upgrading your identity. You are proving I can act even when I don't want to. I can move even when I'm afraid. I can persist even when it's uncomfortable. Small wins create confidence, but hard wins create transformation. There is a difference between someone who lives by convenience and someone who lives by character. Convenience builds nothing. Character builds everything. The hard thing is a mirror. Hard things show you who you really are. Not the version you imagine, not the version you talk about, but the version that appears at the exact moment resistance hits your chest. And that moment is always truthful. When you step toward the hard thing, you step toward a stronger version of yourself. When you step away, you reinforce the weaker one. This is not about perfection. This is about honesty. And deep down, you already know which version you're feeding. Move toward the weight, not away from it. From this chapter forward, your relationship with pressure must change. When something feels hard, your instinct used to say back away. Now it must say go, not recklessly, not violently, but deliberately with clarity, with purpose, with identity, because the breakthrough you want will never come wrapped in comfort. You will find it wrapped in resistance. You will find it sitting behind fear. You will find it buried inside effort. That is the truth of growth. It has always been this way. Pain equal power. Pain is not the problem. Pain is the signal. It means you are stretching. It means you are growing. It means you are stepping into territory where your future self is waiting. Do not fear discomfort. Fear a life where nothing ever challenges you. Fear dying with your potential still locked inside. You were not built for ease. You were built for expansion. And expansion requires pressure. So from now on, feel the resistance and walk toward it. Feel the fear and take the step. Feel the difficulty and do it anyway. That is how power is built. Not by avoiding hard things, but by choosing them. Focus is not a gift. Focus is not a personality trait. Focus is not something you either have or don't have. Focus is a discipline, a muscle you train by dragging your attention back every time it tries to run away. And make no mistake, your mind will run. It will wander. It will drift. It will escape toward anything that feels easier, lighter, or more comfortable. This does not mean you are broken. This does not mean you lack discipline. It means your brain is behaving exactly the way it was designed to behave. Your job is not to have perfect focus. Your job is to reclaim it over and over again. Your mind is a wanderer by nature. The human brain is built for survival, not achievement. It scans constantly, searching for distractions, threats, stimulation. It hates stillness. It hates monotony. It hates effort without immediate reward. So when you begin anything meaningful, a workout, a project, a business task, a study session, your brain shifts into escape mode. Suddenly everything becomes interesting. Your phone, your notifications, your hunger, your boredom, an old memory, a new idea, a random impulse. Your brain throws distractions at you because distraction feels safe. Focus feels like work, and work feels like risk. The skill is not staying focused, it's returning to focus. Most people quit the moment their mind wanders. They think, I lost focus, so I guess today isn't my day. Wrong. Focus will always break. The strength is in forcing it back. Every time your mind drifts and you pull it back, you are strengthening your mental discipline. Every return is a rep. Every rep builds the muscle. Every muscle builds the identity. This is how high performers operate. They don't rely on perfect concentration. They rely on relentless redirection. The act of returning builds more power than the act of starting. It's easy to start something once. It's easy to focus for the first minute. It's easy when the mind is fresh. But when focus slips and you drag it back, that act is where confidence grows. Not the initial effort, but the reclaimed effort. This is where you prove to yourself, I control my attention. My attention does not control me. Every time you reclaim your focus, you rewrite your identity from reactive to intentional, from scattered to centered, from weak to powerful. Train your mind like a wild animal. Your attention is like an untamed animal. If left alone, it runs everywhere. It chases every movement, every noise, every impulse. You don't tame it by yelling at it. You tame it by bringing it back again and again and again, calmly, decisively, relentlessly. This repetition teaches the mind one message. We go where I say, not where emotion pulls, not where distraction invites, not where comfort tempts, where you decide, Focus requires friction. Accept it. Everyone wants effortless focus. But effortless focus is for things that don't matter. Anything meaningful will challenge your attention. The moment your focus breaks, don't sigh. Don't complain. Don't quit. Just pull it back. That friction you feel, that slight annoyance, that mental resistance, that is the sensation of discipline forming. You are not supposed to love it. You are supposed to master it. The rule: drag it back every time. Not once, not twice. Every time your mind wanders, bring it back. It wanders again, bring it back again. It tries to escape for the 10th time, bring it back for the 11th. Not because it's easy, not because you feel powerful, but because returning is your practice. Returning is your identity. Returning is your strength. This is how focus becomes unbreakable, not by eliminating distraction, but by refusing to surrender to it. Everyone wants to be disciplined until discipline asks them to do something they don't like. Everyone wants to be strong until strength requires discomfort. Everyone wants success until success demands they face tasks they would rather avoid. But here is the truth that separates the unstoppable from the average. Your greatness is built on the tasks you hate, not the tasks you enjoy. You don't grow by doing what feels natural. You grow by doing what feels necessary. The things you resist the most are the things that shape you the most. Avoidance is the real enemy. People often think laziness is the problem. It's not. The real problem is avoidance. Avoiding discomfort, avoiding boredom, avoiding repetition, avoiding difficulty, avoiding anything that challenges identity. Avoidance is quiet. Avoidance is subtle. Avoidance feels harmless in the moment, but avoidance is how days turn into months, and months turn into years, and suddenly a decade passes with nothing built, nothing mastered, nothing transformed. Life doesn't punish you for the tasks you hate. Life punishes you for avoiding them. The tasks you hate reveal your weakness and your potential. Every task you dislike points directly at an area where your potential is trapped. Hate waking up early, that's where discipline is sleeping. Hate working out, that's where strength is waiting. Hate studying, that's where mastery is hiding. Hate cleaning, organizing, or planning, that's where clarity begins. Hate making the uncomfortable phone call, that's where courage grows. Whatever you resist is exactly what you must confront. Your resistance is a roadmap. It's telling you this is where your power is locked. Comfort tasks maintain you. Hard tasks transform you. It's easy to do the things you're naturally good at. It's easy to do the things that feel satisfying. It's easy to do the things you enjoy. But easy tasks don't change your identity. They simply maintain who you already are. Transformation requires friction. The tasks you hate tear down the weak parts of you and force the stronger parts to emerge. This is why discomfort is not a punishment. It is the birthplace of your next version. You don't have to like the work. You only have to do it. One of the biggest lies people believe is, I need to enjoy this to be consistent. No. Enjoyment is optional. Consistency is not. You don't need to feel inspired. You don't need to feel ready. You don't need to feel excited. You need to do it. Discipline is not built by doing what feels good. Discipline is built by doing what is required even when you feel nothing. That ability to move without emotion, to act without enthusiasm, to push without comfort is what defines elite performers. Mental muscle is built like physical muscle. The mind strengthens exactly the way the body strengthens through resistance. Every time you do a task you hate, you are adding weight to your mental barbell. And with every rep, your tolerance increases, your identity strengthens, your confidence expands, your resilience multiplies. Soon, the tasks that once felt unbearable become normal. Then they become easy. Then they become a part of who you are. You rise to meet them. You grow beyond them. This is how mental muscle is built, not by avoiding resistance, but by lifting it. Your goal is not comfort. Your goal is capacity. Stop asking, do I like this? Start asking, does this make me stronger? Because strength, real strength, comes from choosing the hard thing when the easy thing is available. If you want a different life, you must be willing to do the tasks most people avoid. That is how you build capacity. That is how you build character. That is how you build a mind that does what must be done. No excuses, no delay, no negotiation. Comfort is the most dangerous enemy you'll ever face. Not because it is loud, but because it is quiet. Soft, gentle, reasonable. Comfort never attacks you directly. It whispers. It negotiates. It shows up when your guard is down and offers you the easier path. And if you let it speak first, it will speak last. Comfort pretends to protect you, but it steals everything. Comfort will tell you, you deserve a break. You've done enough. You can do it later. Take it slow today. And on the surface, it sounds harmless. Sometimes it even sounds healthy. But comfort is not here to help you grow. Comfort is here to keep you the same. It trades your progress for pleasure. It trades your momentum for rest. It trades your future for a moment of ease. And it does this quietly. One small decision at a time. Until you wake up one day realizing you've drifted far from the person you wanted to become. Momentum dies in small moments, not big events. People think they lose discipline because of major setbacks. No. Discipline dies in the tiny moments, hitting snooze once, skipping the workout just today, delaying the hard call for 10 more minutes, choosing distraction instead of direction, lowering the standard because no one is watching. These moments seem harmless, but they accumulate. They shape identity. They build habits. And habits build your life. You don't lose your edge all at once. You lose it slowly, quietly, softly. Comfort kills you one small excuse at a time. Comfort must be stopped early before it grows strong. Once comfort starts talking, it becomes persuasive. It becomes creative. It knows exactly what to say to get you to slow down. That's why you must shut it down immediately before the debate begins. The strongest people in the world aren't special. They're simply fast. They act before comfort has time to speak. They move before excuses form. They do the work before doubt whispers. They don't win because they feel motivated. They win because they don't allow the internal negotiation. Your power is in the first 10 seconds. The battle between growth and comfort is won in the first few seconds of a decision. Wake up or roll over, start working or scroll for a while, finish the task or delay until later. If you wait long enough, comfort will win. If you move quickly, comfort never gets a vote. Action must come before emotion. Movement must come before motivation. Your decision must come before your feeling. This is how you stay in control. Comfort is the first step to decline. Discipline is the first step to freedom. Comfort feels good now, but it costs you later. Discipline feels expensive now, but it pays you forever. Comfort gives you what you want in the moment. Discipline gives you what you want in life. And here's the truth, your life will always move toward whichever voice you obey more. If you obey comfort, you drift. If you obey discipline, you rise. Create structure so comfort cannot lead. You cannot rely on motivation. You cannot rely on inspiration. You cannot rely on feelings. You must rely on systems. Start your day before your mind wakes up enough to complain. Do the hardest task first, so comfort can't steal your focus. Limit your options. Fewer exits mean fewer excuses. Build routines that move automatically without negotiation. Treat your schedule like a contract, not a suggestion. Structure protects you from the quiet voice of comfort. Your new rule: move before comfort speaks. Whenever you feel that soft pull to slow down, to push the work aside, to take the easy road, move. Take the action, send the message, make the call, start the task. Begin now, not later. You don't need to feel strong to act strong. You just need to act before comfort takes control. Because once comfort leads, comfort wins. And once comfort wins, you lose momentum, you lose discipline, you lose the future you're trying to build. Shut it down early. Move immediately. Protect your edge. Protect your momentum. Protect your future. You don't lose to big failures. You don't fall behind because of one dramatic collapse. People lose because of soft thinking tiny. Quiet thoughts that sound harmless but slowly destroy discipline, urgency, and self-respect. Soft thinking whispers, it never shouts. It says, you've done enough for today. You can slow down a little. No one will notice. You don't have to push that hard. These thoughts feel gentle, reasonable, even self-caring, but they are the beginning of decline. They are the first cracks in your standard, and if you don't catch them early, they become your new normal. Soft thinking is the enemy of every ambitious person. Soft thoughts don't make you stop suddenly. They make you settle gradually. You lower your effort by 10%, then 20%, then 30%, until one day you wake up softer in mind, weaker in direction, and disconnected from the discipline that once made you strong. Your identity doesn't collapse overnight. It erodes in small internal conversations you forgot to challenge. That's why awareness is everything. Your mind has two voices, only one can lead. There is a strong voice inside you, the one that wants growth, discipline, follow through, mastery, and there is a soft voice, the one that wants comfort, ease, and temporary relief. If the soft voice speaks unchallenged, your standards sink without you realizing it. You start calling laziness rest. You start calling avoidance self-care. You start calling procrastination waiting for clarity. And once the lie sounds true, you stop growing. The weak thought must be interrupted immediately. You can't argue with soft thinking. You can't negotiate with it. You can't think your way out. You must interrupt it fast. With movement, with breath, with posture, with a command, with a physical shift. Say something out loud. No, we're not doing that. Get up. Back to work. Finish the set. This can't wait. This breaks the mental pattern before it roots itself. Weak thoughts grow in silence. They die in confrontation. Soft thinking feels comfortable. That's why it's dangerous. If soft thinking felt painful, you'd reject it. But it feels safe. It feels pleasant. It feels like relief. And that is the trap. It pretends to be kindness, but it steals your discipline. It steals your intensity. It steals the sharp edge that separates you from the average. Soft thinking doesn't ruin your life today. It ruins it slowly, invisibly, through every "I'll do it later." If you want to rise, you must become allergic to softness in your mind. Awareness is your first line of defense before you act strong. You must think strong. Pay attention to the moments when your mind shifts right before you start the task, right when you feel resistance, right when you have a choice between pushing or pausing, right when you're alone and no one is watching. These moments expose the truth about your internal standard. When the soft thought appears, that is your signal, interrupt it immediately. Replace the soft thought with a strong move. A strong thought is not enough. A strong intention is not enough. You must replace softness with action, because action rewires the mind. Action kills hesitation. Action sets a new standard. Action shapes identity. If the thought says, take a break, you stand up. If the thought says, do it later, you do it now. If the thought says, you've done enough, you finish anyway. This is how you teach your mind who is in charge. You become the leader, not the emotion, not the excuse, not the soft voice. You build a mind that rejects weakness. This is not about being harsh with yourself. This is about being honest. You know the version of you you're trying to build. You know the life you want. You know the standard required. Soft thinking cannot coexist with that future. It must be caught. It must be confronted. It must be replaced. Over time, something incredible happens. You no longer tolerate weakness. You no longer negotiate with excuses. You no longer fall for mental traps that used to control you. You become someone who thinks sharply, acts decisively, and moves with intention, not because you were born disciplined, but because you built a mind that refuses to bend. Quitting never arrives as a loud announcement. It arrives as a whisper, a sigh, a pause. A tiny internal question that sounds innocent. Maybe this isn't working. Maybe it's not worth it. Maybe I should stop. That's how quitting begins, not in the moment you walk away, but in the moment you allow the thought to exist. If you want to build an unbreakable life, you must treat quitting as something that does not exist in your world. Not today, not tomorrow, not when you're tired, not when you're under pressure, not when you feel lost. Quitting cannot be an option, not even mentally. The mind quits long before the body does. Your body can handle more than you think. Your potential can carry more than you know. The only thing that breaks is the thought, I can't. But here's the truth, you can. You always could. You simply gave the doubt too much room to grow. When quitting is available, you will consider it. And once you consider it, you will justify it. And once you justify it, you will choose it. That's why the strongest people have one rule: remove the option entirely. When there is no exit, you find a way. When you eliminate the escape route, something powerful happens. Your creativity increases, your discipline sharpens, your resilience strengthens, because now you're not asking, should I keep going? You're asking, how do I keep going? That shift changes everything. You solve problems differently. You push through obstacles differently. You endure discomfort differently. You stop fighting your emotions and start following your decision. Commitment is not a feeling, it's a standard. Most people think commitment is something you feel. They expect passion to carry them through difficulty. They wait for motivation to show up again. But motivation is unstable. Passion fades. Emotions fluctuate. Commitment is a standard, not a mood. You show up on the days you feel strong and on the days you feel weak. You move when you're inspired and when you're drained. You keep going when progress is exciting and when progress is invisible. That is the difference between the person who finishes and the person who almost finishes. Your identity must say, I don't quit. Your habits follow your identity. If you see yourself as someone who gives up easily, your behavior will match it. If you see yourself as someone who pushes through, your actions will rise to that level. You must build a self-image that says, I finish what I start. I stay in the fight. I don't leave the path ever. When this becomes your identity, quitting doesn't even feel logical anymore. It won't cross your mind because it doesn't match who you are. This is not about forcing perfection. It's about eliminating escape. You are not required to be perfect. You are required to stay in motion. Take breaks if needed, but don't exit. Adjust the plan, but don't abandon it. Slow down if necessary, but don't turn back. The mission stays alive even when the energy dips, because you aren't working from emotion anymore. You're working from decision. Strength is built in the moment you want to quit. Anyone can keep going when everything feels right. Strength is built when nothing feels right and you continue anyway. When your results are slow, when your mind is tired, when the process feels unfair, when doubt is loud, that's where your character is forged. That's where your future is shaped. Not in comfort, but in resistance. Quitting steals more than progress. It steals identity. Every time you quit, you teach your mind something destructive. My word doesn't matter. And once your word stops mattering, discipline collapses. Respect collapses. Belief collapses. Finishing is not just about results. It's about becoming someone you trust, someone who can count on themselves, someone who follows through, someone who stands firm when everything feels heavy. That identity cannot grow in a mind where quitting is an option. You don't need motivation. You need a rule. Make it simple. I do not quit. Ever. No second thoughts. No negotiations. No emotional reconsidering. No internal debate. You finish. You follow through. You endure. You rise, not because it's easy, not because you feel amazing, but because you said you would. And people who build extraordinary lives are the ones who keep their promises, especially when it's hard. Starting is easy. Finishing is identity. Anyone can begin when energy is high, when excitement is fresh, when the vision feels clear. But the world doesn't reward people who start. It rewards people who finish. Your character is revealed not in the beginning of a task, but in the middle when your enthusiasm fades, when the work becomes heavy, when progress feels slow, when the feelings that pushed you forward are gone. This is the point where most people fall apart. They drift, they stall, they leave tasks half done, and every unfinished commitment quietly teaches their mind, you don't follow through. That is how self-doubt is born. Not from failure, but from repeated abandonment of what you promised yourself. Finishing is not about emotion, it's about integrity. Your brain will offer 1,000 excuses to stop. You've done enough. You can finish it tomorrow. This last part doesn't matter that much. No one will notice, but you will notice. Your identity will notice. Your discipline will notice. Finishing what you start is how you build self-respect. It's how you create an internal reputation that says, when I say I'll do something, I do it. Nothing builds confidence faster than being able to trust yourself. Nothing destroys confidence faster than betraying your own word. The final 20% is where strength is built. The first 80% of any task is powered by momentum. The final 20% is powered by character. That final stretch when you're tired, when you're bored, when you're tempted to stop, that is where discipline is formed. That is where you separate from your old identity. That is where you step into the person you're trying to become. Anybody can make progress. Few can complete it. Completion is the proof that you are not ruled by feelings. Your brain will try to negotiate. Don't listen. As you approach the finish line, something predictable happens. Your mind becomes clever. It starts offering kind delays. It's okay to pause. You've already done most of it. You deserve rest. Finishing later is the same. It sounds logical. It sounds gentle. It sounds like self-care. But it's a trap. Finishing later is never the same as finishing now. The longer you delay, the heavier the task becomes, and the weaker your self-trust grows. Finishing now makes you stronger. Finishing later makes you smaller. Completion creates identity. Identity creates destiny. Every time you finish something, a workout, a task, a promise, a commitment, you send a powerful message to your subconscious. I am someone who completes, and that message compounds. It repeats. It evolves until it becomes your identity. And once completion becomes part of who you are, your life changes direction. You become consistent. You become reliable. You become disciplined. You become unstoppable. People with this identity don't quit halfway. They don't disappear mid-process. They don't wait for motivation to return. They finish regardless of how they feel. Finishing doesn't have to feel good. It has to be done. You may feel tired. You may feel uninspired. You may feel distracted. You may feel off today. That does not matter. Finishing is not emotional. Finishing is responsibility. You don't complete a task because it feels amazing. You complete it because you gave your word, because the future you're building depends on it, because quitting now becomes quitting later, and quitting later becomes your life story. You are not here to collect half-finished dreams. You are here to fulfill what you start. The final push is where you transform, when everything in you wants to stop, and you choose to continue anyway. That moment upgrades your identity. That moment builds a version of you who is stronger than emotion, stronger than discomfort, stronger than excuses. That moment is where your future begins. Finishing is the closing signature of self-mastery. It's the final proof that you are not controlled by mood or convenience, but by principle. The rule is simple: if you start it, you finish it, no matter how long it takes, no matter how you feel, no matter how your mind argues. You bring it home. You close the chapter. You deliver the final mile, because that's who you are, because that's the standard now. Because the version of you who finishes everything is the version who wins. You've just walked through the laws that separate the people who wish from the people who rise. You've learned how identity shapes action, how resistance becomes fuel, how discipline is built in the dark, and how finishing is the signature of a powerful mind. But none of this matters until one thing happens. You decide, right now, in this moment, that your life will no longer be led by emotion, but by intention, because your future is not waiting for motivation. It's waiting for you, your decision, your discipline, your next action. The world does not reward potential. It rewards execution. It rewards those who move when everyone else hesitates, those who finish when everyone else quits, those who lead themselves before life forces them to. And that person, that leader, is already inside you. You are one decision away from a different identity, a different momentum, a different destiny. Stop looking at who you were. Start acting like who you're becoming. This is your turning point. This is where hesitation ends. This is where execution begins. This is where you rise. If this message woke something up inside you, if it reminded you of the strength you've forgotten, if it showed you the version of yourself you're meant to become, don't let this be the last step. Let it be the first. Subscribe to Hill Mindset Legacy for more Napoleon Hill inspired lessons, high-frequency mindset training, and life-changing discipline frameworks. Like this video if you're committed to taking action, not someday, but now. Comment below, I act before I feel. Say it. Declare it. Anchor it into your identity. Your new life doesn't start tomorrow. It starts the moment you choose action over emotion. And you just made that choice. Welcome to the legacy. Let's rise together.